Hey, friends, good evening. I hope you guys have all been well. I am really sorry I've been a little MIA as far as the video recordings. Um, it's just been a little hectic around here between sick kids and a last minute trip to New York City, which was a blessing to get to go spend some time with Cardinal Dolan, the Archbishop of New York, and to get to see him again this year. So, um, I just I want to wish you all a happy Advent season. I hope that you have had some wonderful reflection time. I hope that you have had beautiful prayer time, not only with preparing your hearts for the coming of Jesus, but really with the Holy Family. And like I said, we have been continuing to have our in person meetings while we have been reading Behold. And I hope you guys are loving Sister Miriam's message as much as I am. And I just want to say, this is the first one we've opened up in person and invited the guys in, and we have had men that have showed up every week so far. Love having their perspective and what they have brought to the discussion, and it's just elevated, I think, this entire reflection for Advent, and it's just so beautiful. And for a handful of the women, it's their spouse that they've brought with them. And I think that being able to do this study together is just such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to do this one a little bit informally. I'm not going to go through the readings this week. I posted them earlier along with those reflections questions, and I hope that you guys have had an opportunity to go look at those. Again, if you feel like commenting on them, please do. Feel free to DM or message me if you'd like to discuss any of them on the side, but not in front of everybody. But you still have that opportunity. But I just want to say what I loved that came out of Sunday, because of course we were studying St. Joseph last week, is really this focus on Joseph's tenderness and what that really means, what that looks like for a man, not only as a male perspective, but as a husband, as a father, as a leader of a family, and setting such an important example for the family. And so to hear you guys speak about the impact of Joseph's tenderness. And Sister Miriam talked last week about how we get this this idea that men have to be macho. They have to be fully masculine, like this, this rough and tough. And the thing is that nowadays we confuse tenderness and gentleness and kindness in a man for femininity. And that is that it can't be more opposite. A man should absolutely learn to carry the qualities of tenderness and gentleness and kindness, and especially as a family man, as a man of God, because they're setting that example of leading their families and showing the way of how we treat one another and how we can show compassion for one another. And we need so much of that in today's world. I mean, we just really do. And so I loved the perspective of that thought of tenderness is not taking away from masculinity whatsoever. In fact, I think it enhances it. And it's that ability. We kind of talked about wearing different hats on Sunday. And, as a female, as a mom, as a wife, all of these things, a daughter, women, I think we kind of get the hat analogy that, we're wearing a different hat. And so we kind of proposed that to the men over the weekend. And is that a difficult transition? Do you feel like you have to constantly transition from being dad to husband to provider, or does it just kind of flow? And so just something to think about, and think about what role your father played with you in growing up. And again, we also talked about how a couple of us were saying, like, well, their dads were the comedians, their dads were the fun ones. I mean, they worked, but they came home and they got to be silly with their kids. And they got to do that because mom was running around keeping the house, and she'd been with kids all day, and was kind of up to here, with everything. And so dad got to play that role for others. It was, it was strictly provider, and not that it was strictly provider, but there was this persona, of staying stoic. And so it was just so interesting to see the dynamic of dads play out in our lives. And I think that what is so relatable about Saint Joseph, and that it's so easy to forget, out of anybody in the Holy Family, he's the one we're most like. Joseph was born with original sin. If anybody, I mean, of course, Mary was terrified. They all had this big task ahead of them. But think about it in Joseph's eyes. I mean, he was just as relatable to all of us as far as a human factor because of that original sin piece. And here he is being entrusted to step in and raise the Son of God. I mean, Mary had this task of, being pregnant, her fiat, and also becoming his mother and saying yes and raising him. But, Joseph had a little bit of this, a little more of a disconnect. At least Mary was carrying Jesus. So, I mean, again, this beautiful recognition of relatableness between us and Joseph, and how he is at fault for everyday things like we all are. And he's being entrusted with something so precious. And that's what we all have to remember. We are being entrusted with loving Jesus, with believing in Jesus, with sharing Jesus with others. And I look at my children and I think, gosh, what a daunting task, just to raise them in the faith, and hopefully I don't screw them up on all of these things. And then I think to myself, man, what must Joseph had been thinking? Because if I think it's tough on my end, I can't imagine, for him as far as raising Jesus. But I think he did a pretty good job with Mary's help. So I think that's wonderful. So, like I said, I just wanted to pop on. I'm so sorry that I've been a little more MIA as far as online with this study, but I really hope that you're getting some clarity and some guidance and some peace by reading Behold this Advent season. I hope as we continue to get closer to Christmas that your heart is just, you find that building coming, and that if you feel like it's been rushed, you feel like you've missed some things, that's okay. There's still an opportunity to slow down. There's still an opportunity to say Christ is coming. There's still time to prepare. So don't overwhelm yourself, but let that guide you, let that lead you, and know that he's coming, and prepare your heart for that. So I will get on again here later this week, early next week again, and we'll talk about the child Jesus with finishing the study with Christmas Eve and everything. I don't want to, we're not going to meet in person. Obviously, we decided as a group, we're going to we're all going to finish individually, but we're going to come together for our discussion that second week in January. And so I will try to post something before then. So I don't want you, again, to think that we've forgotten about anything, but just know it's coming. And in the meantime, if you have some type of um, realization, you have questions, you um, need a safe space to share, I mean, please reach out. Like I said, you can message me, you can email me, shoot me a DM. I don't want anybody to feel like they're walking this alone, because we are all in it together. And so I hope that you all have a blessed rest of your week. I so look forward to continuing Behold with you all. And I just, um, I pray that there's some beautiful things that are coming out of it for you all. So have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all soon. Good night.